guys, welcome to my vlog of episode 6 of season 15 of Deadliest Catch. And it is closing out the fall season, which was king crab and bear eye season. So it started out with the Northwestern going into Dutch Harbor for the final time to offload their bear eye crab. And the Northwestern was the first one to leave the king crab grounds and the first one to leave the bear eye grounds. Off till the new year. They'll be back when winter season starts, which will be after the new year. That was the Northwestern. Then it went to the Saga, and the Saga was going into town to offload the king crab they had on board, and they have 88% of their quota. They have only had 12% left to catch of their king crab quota, and then their fall season would be done for the year. So the Saga goes into town and offloads, and Jake tells his crew they can go to shore and have dinner and go do what they need to do. He set a deadline for them to come back in 9:30 that night, and at like 2 a.m. they're still out drinking and having a good time, and Jake is done with them. He tries calling them and they're not answering, so he decides to fire 3 of his crew members. So normally there's 6 crew members on his boat, and he fired 50% of them. He still has his deck boss and one of the deckhands on board. So he fires them and called the crew members he fired so that they could let them know where their stuff was, and they all came back to once they went to the hotel, and one of the crew members threatened Jake, so Jake called the Alaskan State Troopers to make sure nothing happened, and that was it. So then it went to the Summer Bay, and the Summer Bay was just finishing up their bear eye fishing, and one of their crew members, Landon, was going into a pot, and somehow he messed up his knee and he couldn't work anymore. So Bill calls the Cornelia Marie and asks if they could lend one of their crew members, which was Casey. So that means what they're gonna have to do is they're gonna have Casey have his rain gear on and the life suits to keep them warm if the boat sinks. So he was doing that, was wearing that suit, and the Summer Bay was right by them, and Casey jumped off of the boat and into the Bering Sea to drift over to the Summer Bay to go fish the rest of the pots while Bill had left to catch. So he's on the Summer Bay, and the Summer Bay is catching crab, and they meet their quota, and then Casey goes back he jumps back into the water once all the pots are in, and he goes back to the Cornelia Marie. Southern wind. They set all their pots on a border where they're not allowed to fish, but it was just off because he thought the bear eye would be there, and so they're fishing. They set the pots. It moves on to the Wizard, and the Wizard is just finishing their king crab season, and they have to go to Kodiak, Alaska to offload, which there's a very narrow path they have to go on when going home. He has to do it at night. It was a 3-day journey to get to Kodiak, Alaska to offload, and by the time he got there it was nighttime, and his navigation and stuff was acting kind of weird, so he called his crew to get up and spot, and they got into Kodiak, Alaska safely. So then, going back to the southern wind, they go check their pots, and they are doing really well. Their pots are hitting the average they need to close out their bear eye season, and they get what they need, and they go into town and offload. The Brenna A, they are doing good, and they're hitting the number that they need to finish their bear eye and king crab season. So they go and offload and get the boat prepped, shut down for the holidays, and go home. So Jake is in need of crew, so he gives Sean a call and asks Sean if he could fly to Dutch Harbor to help Jake out on the saga. And he called him during Brenna A was offloading their crab, and Jake, he hadn't heard from Sean, so Jake was about to leave, and Sean shows up and gives Jake like 12 hours to catch all the crab to finish their king crab season for 2018. And so they go out, and he has Sean captaining the saga while Jake is out on deck with Sean and the other deckhand. And then Jake sends Sean to go up to the wheelhouse, and Sean Dwyer, the captain of the Brenna A, comes down to work with Jake and the other deckhand to finish out the season, and they hit their goal and they go into town and offload. And then it shows Sean and his mom in Seattle, and they bought a new boat called the Determined, and Sean has a new boat. Now his family owns 3 boats. So, I hope you guys enjoyed my review of episode 6 of season 15 of Deadliest Catch, and stay tuned for winter season, which is going to be crazy. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please share this video with your friends and family, and don't forget to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And if you ain't dreaming, you ain't living. Don't forget to dream big.